Welcome to Screen Riot. This week's movie is The Dark, a fantasy film from 2018. This episode will contain major spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie yet, it's available to rent on all the major streaming services. Go check it out and come back to the podcast because this is Screen Riot.
Welcome to Screen Riot, the podcast where we review a movie chosen entirely by fate. If you're having difficulties finding movies to watch, then this is the podcast for you. I'm one of your hosts, Justin, and alongside me are co-hosts Eddie, Kyle, and John. And each week, one of us spins the wheel of fate, and the host must pick any movie that genre lands on. If you'd like to see all the movies that we've reviewed so far and how they've ranked, visit screenriot.net and have a look at the movie ratings page. At the end of each show, we'll spin the wheel and see what next week's movie is going to be, so that you can follow along at home. Also, while you're at screenriot.net, make sure to head over to the support page to see all the different ways that you can help support the show. With all that being said, the movie we're talking about is The Dark. An undead teenage girl befriends a blind boy that she meets in a forest that she haunts and hunts in. Both have been victims of unimaginable abuse, and each finds solace in the other. There may be a chance of light at the end of their tunnel, but will it come with a body count?
Or it will come with a body count.
I guess it does.
I hate the synopsis for this movie, by the way.
Yeah.
I think it's laughable. Whoever wrote it was garbage at writing. So,
well, I wrote that. So, no, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
The film is 1 hour, 35 minutes long. It's not rated and was written and directed by Justin P. Lange. So I looked him up because I was unfamiliar with him. He's mostly just an indie director. Mm-hmm. This is he made like 3 short films before this.
Okay.
And then this is his first feature that he made.
Gotcha.
Now, the last movie he made before this, the short, was called The Dark. So he made this from a short film, found funding, and then turned it into a feature.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'd be curious to watch the short film.
Yeah, actually, I would be too.
Yeah.
So let's just jump right into it here because there's a lot to talk about, I'm sure, right, Eddie?
I think there's a lot to talk about, but apparently you three do not, so we'll see. Let's just see. Kyle's into popcorn movies. This is definitely not one of those. There are layers here. This is the Shrek of movies.
It didn't make me want to eat.
Shrek of movies.
I'm just thinking about ugly people walking around. She's covered in cuts and stuff the whole time.
I thought you meant like submissive, or not submissive,
subversive.
Wow, never mind.
No, subconsciously.
Yes, that's the word.
Subversively.
Sure. Yeah. Anyway, so we open up with a man going to a convenience store and he unfurls a map. The clerk circles the area on the map. It's called Devil's Den because I guess the clerk knows where this guy's going for reasons.
Yeah. It's like, oh, you're unfurling a map. I know where you're going.
Yeah. I did not like the writing in this scene.
No, I didn't either.
It's very... It's so assuming a lot.
Yeah, I didn't like No Country for Old Men. I mean, the beginning of The Dark.
Yeah.
The clerk's writing, the dialogue is just awful.
And I like how every horror movie has a really weird, dilapidated gas station that has everything that you need. Vitamin water, sugar cereal.
I mean, those things are typically found at a convenience store, but I understand what you're saying.
like it looks like a tackle store, like you'd buy bait or something like that.
Well, it's like
a bait shop.
But think about it more like a general store in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like, this is one of those where you might like a Family Dollar. Family Dollar. Have you been in one recently?
Yeah.
There's everything in there. They've got kayaks in Family Dollar.
Do they really?
Yeah. If you need a kayak, apparently you can go to Family Dollar. They're about $28, but you can get them.
Maybe if that store was built probably like in the early maybe 1940s and then had the original stock.
Yeah.
That's what this store reminded me of.
So
it had like wood fish on the walls.
Yeah.
Old cans of something. I don't know.
But I can appreciate the movie doing going way up there, huh?
Well, there's that
trope.
Well, exactly. And I was going to say, I don't like the writing that the convenience store. I don't like his delivery that much, etc. The reason why he assumes that that's where the guy's going is because Devil's Den is haunted, and he thinks that this guy's like a ghost hunter. That's the only reason. Why else would he be out in the middle of nowhere? So he's like, I know where you're going.
That's a lot of assumption. I mean, because there's nothing in there that...
That's what we find out later on, because the 3 hunter guys are like, I don't want to be out here because we all know it's haunted and whatnot.
But I'm saying there's a lot of assumption that the clerk thinks that he's going out there to go find ghosts.
Yeah,
There's
the
nothing.
ghost. The convenience store is exactly doing that. He's just assuming.
I know.
Yeah,
It's.
It just bothers you that he's assuming
the other thing that was,
I agree. The guy's acting as shit though.
Yeah, the other thing that was weird is the guy Joseph. We later find his name out, or Yosef, I should say.
Yeah.
We find out that he puts the cereal box on the counter, and the clerk picks it up and looks at him like, "Why are you buying cereal at my store?"
No, I know what it is. He looks at it. He's going, "Oh crap! This is out of date. Are you sure you want to buy this?
By about 40 years.
Should I actually tell him that this is out of date? We haven't had a food truck back here in like decades. Here, yeah, sure. You like scary stuff? Hey, let me circle this on a map.
Fruity
Loops. Let me try to divert the situation here of out of date cereal.
I do want to.
They went out of business 20 years ago.
See, they I think they missed a golden opportunity. They should have done like Count Chocula. Or something, some kind of cereal that goes with the horror theme.
Yeah.
I do.
They don't have a zombie mascot for cereals, do they?
For a fairly
wasn't there a Franken Bones cereal or something at one point?
No country, John.
I think they were
Country Loops.
What, Eddie?
I'm gonna say this for a fairly serious scene where really the only thing that's funny is, again, I agree, the convenience store's acting, the convenience store clerk's acting.
Yeah.
You guys are finding a lot of humor in a
it's
very short part of
it's
this
mainly
movie,
just because
too.
Everything starting out in this movie is just so out of place.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so the No Country for Old Men, as John's pointing out, the beginning of that you hated as well.
Well,
The whole beginning.
Well, he was
that
saying
wasn't
that
the beginning.
This
No
was
Country
the
for Old
scene
Men,
from
though.
No Country for Old Men where he's having that weird conversation with the clerk.
Yeah. No, I'm saying, but it's almost the same level of I mean, the acting in No Country for Old Men, hands down, better.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not denying that whatsoever. But and the writing is better as well. But in terms of the scene itself, it's the same scene. I just think it's.
But the synopsis wasn't about an undead girl.
The synopsis sucks. Listen, I'm not happy about the synopsis. I think there's a lot more to it than they make it look like.
So as
Kyle
the clerk,
wrote the synopsis.
And it's Frankenberry, by the way.
Frankenberry.
There you go.
I knew there was a...
That sounds familiar. So as the two are talking about spooky stuff happening in the forest.
Spooky ghosts.
Spooky ghosts. We hear that there's a news broadcast going on, and they basically said that there's a warrant out for this guy named Josef Hofer. The clerk recognizes him. Joseph pulls out a gun, and we see, off camera, we hear the gunshot go off, we assume.
Yeah.
That he shot the clerk. And then Joseph grabs all the stuff, runs outside, gets in the car, and drives away.
Actually, before you go to, he runs outside, drops. There's actually a. I like the tracking shot that they do when he comes out because he drops something, and like
dropped
the camera,
his gun.
Yeah, he drops his gun. Thank
Yeah.
you. And he the camera kind of sort of starts to pan back, but it doesn't quite. He almost ends up out of frame, and then it kind of catches back. Yeah, I like that tracking shot. I don't know why. It just stuck with me.
It might have been that the gun fell out
accidentally, and they were like,
and they're like,
hurry up.
We only have so much film.
But it works.
Let's go.
It
Yeah,
does.
but it added to it. If it was a mistake, great cover up.
Great
but,
job.
you know.
Well, good job on keeping rolling.
Conrad Hall, the cinematographer, he calls those kind of things happy accidents.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which sounds like a very Bob Ross thing to say. But
Oh, these birds are actually clouds.
Look at that happy gun laying on the ground.
Yeah. Again, though, I like that. I like that tracking shot.
Yeah.
But yeah, then he jumps in the car.
so he jumps into the car. He drives to. I want to point out, he left the map that he was trying to find Devil's Den in the convenience store accidentally. So he's driving down the road and he has a cell phone and can't get coverage.
Yeah.
Is what we're assuming. But then he stumbles across Devil's Den. He goes to this old dilapidated house, this 2-story house. And he basically just rummages around asking, hello, anybody here, blah, blah, blah. He sits down and he hears a kind of like
which is like a creepy bedroom that looks like it hasn't really been touched very often. Well, actually, it's been lived in. It looks very lived in.
Yeah.
Like there's somebody here in this house. So that's what I was thinking at the very first. So I'm thinking, okay, well, somebody is living here. Don't know what. Mm-hmm. But yeah, then we hear some noises.
There's creepy sketches like plastered all over the wall.
Yeah.
And then we hear like a knocking from the wall, coming from inside the wall. So Joseph, I keep calling him. He goes to peer through a little hole in the wall.
Yeah.
He doesn't quite see something, but then all of a sudden an axe comes through the wall, almost hits him.
Yeah.
He's startled. He falls backwards. He grabs his gun, unloads into the wall,
Which I'm thinking, oh, cool. The first horror movie I've seen in a long time where somebody actually has a gun.
Yeah.
Well, and they use it on
the person, or they think they use it on the person.
And they actually followed the ammunition rules. He empties
he
out all 8 rounds, 6 rounds,
it's like
whatever, and it's
tick,
gone.
Tick, tick,
yeah, and it's
gone.
What I liked about it was that he puts his eye up to a hole in the wall to try and like see what's on the other side, and they didn't do the cliche eye to eye, look thing.
You see the monster come in.
Instead, it's a hatchet through the wall. I'm like, well, that's different. That's a different way of attacking.
They did actually cut to an eyeball.
That was his eyeball.
That was his,
right.
Looking
but
through.
You can't tell.
Well, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I didn't think. I'm glad it wasn't like cliche, cloudy eye. Obvious rotten face on the other side. I'm glad it was something
for a
different.
jump scare. Yeah, that's very typical.
Yeah,
so, like we saw that happen in an incident in Ghostland.
Yes, Incident in Ghostland did the same thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, he basically unloads his gun, and then he hauls ass. Out of the house.
Yeah.
Which again, he did the horror movie. Nobody does this.
Right.
They don't leave the house. He hauls ass and he's out in the woods and he's running for dear life.
Oh, well, he almost makes it out of the house.
Yeah.
Oh, he almost makes it.
Yeah.
As he's running out, he runs into a board that has strategically placed nails in it, sticking up.
I was thinking, oh, Home Alone.
I actually yelled and felt his pain while
me too.
I was watching that. Have you ever stepped on a nail?
No,
not that far.
No, I haven't.
Not all the way through my foot.
Mine didn't go all the way through the foot, but it went in a significant amount, and it hurts like the Dickens. That's what I'm going to say. Hurts like the Dickens.
No, I did get a Home Alone thing.
Yeah.
That did hit me, but then
well,
I'm like,
and
wait,
when he first ran over the spikes or whatnot, I was thinking, oh, okay, well, this is obviously a setup for, like, okay, you're going to get stuck here. You're meant to get stuck here because people have literally put these things out to make you get stuck.
Yeah,
to hunt you or something.
Well, we didn't mention either that the reason he stops at this house is because he gets a flat tire from a caltrop that was placed in the road.
From a what?
A caltrop?
I've never heard that.
Yeah, it's the little spiky.
Oh,
caltrop.
Yeah,
that's what I was talking about. Little spiky things.
Yeah, I didn't know what it was.
He was like pulling out of his tire, and I was like, oh, okay, well, those are actually placed there by somebody that wanted him to get stuck.
Sorry, I thought you said nail, so that's what I was.
Well, they were
nail
like
was to the
barbed
foot.
wire nail thing. Yeah.
But what crossed my mind whenever he got that flat tire was like The Hills Have Eyes.
Yes,
it's
exactly it.
Yeah, definitely see that.
Yep. So as he excruciatingly pulls this nail out of it, I do like the sound effect that they had in here.
Very squishy.
It make me felt like I just stepped on a nail.
Yeah.
Did that bring back like PTSD for you, John?
It did.
Oh, okay.
It did. It brought a tear to my eye.
But
I felt bad for Yosef.
Even though he just killed a cleric out of cold blood.
Yeah. What goes around comes around.
Bad people can also have bad days.
No, this is just this is one step away from a calendar.
I feel like
hang
that's
in there on Mondays.
Not just that. I feel like that's almost like a crap tagline for Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Like bad people can also have bad days. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Movie relations with John.
Jeez.
I think we have a new blog post.
He's just misunderstood, guys.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
So as he pulls out the nail, a kind of shadowy figure with the axe in their hand kind of moves in, which was a little creepy, right? So he gets up, he runs through the woods, he runs a little bit, he thinks he has diverted the person. He's escaped, and so then all of a sudden an axe comes from the top of the frame of the camera and right into his skull.
Which is quite hilarious in a horror movie. It's just
it's different.
I mean, to me, it's kind of typical, but it was, I don't know, in those types of scenes where they're hiding for a while and they don't hear anything. Okay, there's leaves all around. Yeah, she's been around for a long time. Just because she's dead, does that mean that she can't be heard? Because she was hauling ass too.
Well, she was walking.
No, she was running. She was running, and she was like, trying to get him. Oh wait, no, that was after the fact.
That was later.
That was when he was
only walking.
She was doing
walking.
She was doing the whole Halloween. Michael Myers walking.
Yeah, and
but to climb the tree and to be there before he did,
Well, I think
it was after.
I think it was after too. But I was gonna say, to me, for the typical like axe murderer thing would be he's looking this way. He's looking behind the tree this way, and then the axe comes from the other side and like decapitates him. Or
that's
he's
what
looking,
I expected.
He's looking behind the tree, and all of a sudden it comes straight forward from for her to come from above is. I thought it was at least different. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't impressed by it. I'm not, to be clear, so far, not impressed with the movie. I want to be very clear to this point in the movie. You know what I mean?
did like the shot whenever the shot cuts to from him with the blade, the axe blade in his head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but it cuts to a wide shot of the tree, and she's laying on the branch.
Right.
And the axe he's still standing up, and the axe is out of his head. I thought that was that's a picturesque scene.
Yeah.
Shot.
True. It's a lot more cinematic than what horror movies with axe murderers typically get.
Yeah.
I agree with you on that.
Yeah, because there was no music at all during that too.
Which I remember.
It was very
cool.
quiet, and like you're kind of just in the forest alone.
That's one thing I do like about this is that almost the whole time there's no like dun 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 like type stuff.
There's no horror movie music going on.
It's literally him running away. You hear his breath. You hear her chasing. You hear leaves, and that's about it.
And wind.
I like how they sort of suck. I don't know. They did this thing about sort of sucking the emotion out of this until they decide to bring emotion in back later in the movie.
Yeah,
and there's just putting this out there. I think it's very strategic. I think all of this is very, very strategic because I think this movie mimics her emotion. And we'll talk about that as we go, but I think the movie is actually in line with how she is.
Yep. So then the horrifying figure reveals themselves. It's a girl. She's very chalk, pasty, nasty
cut
looking.
to hell,
she's all cut to hell and everything.
Half her face is smashed in.
Yeah, half her face is like gone. But then she basically eats Yosef. So goodbye, Yosef.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
Now
then
she's a zombie.
Yeah, now she's eating him. She goes through his pockets. She finds a lighter that has a cross on it, and some other stuff, car keys, stuff like that. One important plot point is we see her pause for a moment. I guess she's got her fill of Yosef.
Yeah.
So she pauses for a moment and she flips open the lighter flame and puts her hand over it for a good
minute,
10 seconds.
15 seconds.
15 seconds, whatever, and she can't feel it, obviously.
Yep.
So then she goes to check out what is in his car. So she goes to the trunk. She opens it up. She finds out. First, I guess I should say, she goes to the front seat. She finds the cereal. She tries it, and it makes her instantly sick.
Yeah.
Right. So she can't have human food, obviously.
And then while she's eating the cereal, we hear a voice go, "Can I have some?" No, it says, Yosef,
is that you?
Yosef, is that you? Can I have some? Because he thinks it's Yosef eating cereal in the front seat. A voice thinks it's Joseph.
Yeah, a young boy pops up from the back seat, and we can see that his eyes are scarred, scratched.
They're gone.
Yeah, they're basically
it's basically skin scar flaps over his eyes, where his eyes should be.
Yep.
Yeah. So she goes out to the back seats. Basically, the boy gets scared. He wets himself. And she goes into the house, grabs some sweatpants, and
out of a tub of clothes, of
her victims.
We're going to assume past murdered people.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
A whole tub filled up with clothes.
Last night's dinner.
It's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they got a stink.
I'm sure.
Maybe.
Yeah. So then she gives it to Alex. We find out his name is Alex.
Yeah.
And he puts him on.
There's a couple of things that happen during that scene too that are kind of interesting. Like he tells her not to look, which is there's a, and I don't want to start getting weird about this already, but it's like there's a frailty to him. Like he is very childlike. Like he's probably what do you guys think? 14, 15?
14, 15.
Yeah, and he acts like he's about 7 or 8.
Yeah.
Through most of the movie, he acts like he's being led. I mean, not just because he's blind, but I mean like he. To me, when I was 15, I feel like I would have been more assertive, right? He's not assertive. He's very much a follower.
Unless you've been brainwashed.
Well, he's a victim.
Kind of stuff,
He's a victim of abuse,
Yeah, he's a super victim of abuse. So, I mean,
at this point in the movie, we assume that he's been kidnapped.
And at least
possibly
tortured.
Physically, obviously mentally abused.
Yes. But when he asked her not to look, I felt like that was a very, like, I don't know. I think he was embarrassed because he peed himself, but he was also, I mean, I think he's also kind of just shamed in general. But this also is important because she tries to get him to leave, and he won't. He will only follow the rules.
Yeah, he wants to wait for Yosef to come back.
Yeah.
Because he kept repeating over and over that there are rules. He has to follow the rules and all this stuff. But she doesn't tell him that Yosef is dead.
Not yet.
Yeah, she just says, I don't think he's coming back," or something like that.
Or he's gone.
Or he's gone. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And then we get our first flashback after all this happens, and we find out that she's a girl, looks the same age. She's sketching stuff, and she comes down to the
kitchen.
The kitchen.
Yeah.
And she sees her mom fraternizing with some guy.
Yeah.
We don't really know who he is.
Mom's drunk.
Yeah, mom's drunk. The daughter obviously does not like the guy that her mom is hanging out with.
Yeah.
And gets pissed and runs upstairs and angst draws. Mm-hmm. The only thing I can think of saying. And she starts to have this weird kind of demonic sound in her head, right? And then we jump back to the zombie present.
The zombie present. Jesus. Yeah.
Where we find that a policeman is scouting the area. He was driving along the road and got a flat tire from the caltrops as well.
How convenient.
Well, he's not driving along the road. He's looking for whoever shot the clerk.
Right.
Yeah, I know.
And they found the map, and it had...
But you're like, how convenient. He's looking for whoever shot the clerk.
No, that he got a flat tire.
Oh, that he got a flat tire. Okay.
No,
I thought you were like,
no.
A cop just shows up out of nowhere. I'm like, no.
No, he stopped there because he got a flat tire.
Yeah,
oh, how convenient. That's where the other guy, Yosef, got a flat tire.
Yeah, he wasn't an alien buried in the ice, Kyle.
He's pretty nearby the scene,
Yeah.
which is convenient for timing purposes.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I mean, he found the map at the convenience store, and it had the Devil's Den circled, so that's where he hid. And that makes all that makes complete sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, he gets a flat tire, so he's looking around. He comes across the Yosef's car that has been identified that people are looking for.
Yes.
Right, with the warrant and all.
And Alex.
Yes, and he finds Alex back there. But we see that zombie girl... She hears that the cop is coming into the house, so she hides into the closet. The cop goes into the bedroom, notices the gun, touches it with his bare hands, which I thought was weird because I don't think a cop would do that. But
yeah, these are like out in the wood cops.
Yeah, but then he notices a figure in the closet, so he thinks it's Yosef, but obviously we know it's Zombie Girl. So he basically points the gun at the closet and says, "Hey, come out," blah, blah, blah. And then she jumps out and kills him.
Yeah.
In a pretty gruesome way.
Rips his eyeballs out, man.
Horribly gruesome way. And to me, this is complicated. Because here's the thing. So when she killed Yosef, I'm like, okay, well, Yosef is a bad guy. I'm okay with this. When she killed the cop, I'm like, wait a minute.
Well, that was out of preservation is what I took it at.
You could take it as that, but it definitely draws a question as to whether or not she can be the hero of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, well, you can't just go around. This cop did nothing wrong. Like if the cop had been like, "You're Alex Whitmer, aren't you? You got a nice mouth." If he had been like creepy, then okay, kill him. He's a creep. Like he's a pedophile. Kill him. You know what I mean? But he wasn't. He was just trying to do his job and save Alex and capture Yosef. And what we end up with is a dead cop.
I think at this point she's acting on instinct. She sees a human like that as food.
Whereas with food or a threat.
Whereas with Alex, she can tell that he's hurt, that he's not a threat, so she doesn't kill him.
Okay, I took it slightly different, but it's okay. We'll talk about
and
that.
Another thing too is I was thinking, okay, well, obviously, okay, why attack this cop? Why just go out to him and be like, hey, this is all that's happened to me. I don't know what's going on. But I think we find out that she just wants to be left alone. And she doesn't want anybody to know that she's there.
Yeah,
for the most part, if she kills everybody that knows that she's there, she's still a secret. She's still, the mystery in the woods.
Okay.
So she's just wanting to be left alone.
Yep.
Yeah.
So then Alex tries to get away by walking in the woods, but the zombie girl catches up to him, and that's when she tells him that Yosef is dead.
Right.
That she found him dead and all this. So then Alex tells her that there's a number that he has to call in case something bad happens or something bad happens to Yosef.
Right, because they'll keep coming and finding me.
Yeah.
They'll keep coming.
And this is where, again, going back to we assume Alex has been sexually abused, right? That Yosef wasn't just one pedophile, but he was part of
an entire
pedophile network, an entire sex trafficking, human trafficking network that he's a part of. And that Alex has been gone for a really long time, since he was a kid, and has been basically passed around from one person to the next.
Yeah, it's
horrific.
It's what you assume from the context clues.
Oh, context clues a little bit, but when he starts saying that he was with somebody else before Yosef.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Yeah, there was a part where he describes being with somebody else first, and it's horrific. I mean, basically, this kid he wasn't just taken by one dude. He's been taken and now has been part of this entire thing. Yosef apparently was the person who's had him the longest and had these rules, again, that if he didn't listen to, that's how Alex ended up with his eyes burned out, because Yosef likes burning things. And when it was actually my fault, is how Alex describes it. I was still learning the rules. I didn't know the rules. And when I didn't follow the rules, he had to punish me, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, that's got Stockholm Syndrome written all over it.
It's so awful. I mean, it's horrific.
Yeah. But since Zombie Girl wants Alex gone, she agrees, let's go find a phone so that we can give a call. Now, this is the first part of the movie that I'm starting to question things.
Yeah.
Because we saw Yosef with the phone earlier.
Yeah.
Trying to get signal while he was driving. So I didn't understand why they didn't just go back to Yosef to find his phone in the car or on his person or something.
Are you talking about Zombie Girl?
Yeah.
I don't think she initially wanted to necessarily give the phone to Alex. It was after the cop and all that kind of stuff that she's willing to even entertain the idea. And I think the reason why she does, here's the thing, where you guys are going to it's preservation and stuff on the cop. I can kind of believe that, right? But to me, anyway, most of the people that she wants to hurt are bad people. And when she's telling Alex to make the calls, she's using him as bait.
Oh, you think?
Yeah.
So I did not.
It's exactly
get that
what I think.
Yeah,
why else would you? So here's the mansplaining moment. Apparently, these two kids, both of them were abused, right? The only reason she's not attacking and killing Alex is because he is abused like she was abused. So it's a kindred spirit type situation.
Right.
She should be more into that kindred spirit thing, but in the initial outset, she's not, right? Because she's cold, she can't feel anything, she's setting fire to herself, doesn't feel anything, etc. As she starts to recognize more of that kindred spirit in Alex and start to realize, what, he's just like me in a sense, that's whenever her heart grew 3 sizes that day, and she starts to come back to being human. But her initial plan, as far as I can tell anyway, her initial plan was to use him as bait to bring more people that are awful to get him, quote unquote.
Yeah, see, I didn't get that at all.
Yeah, because when she ended up getting the phone, she got the phone from the hunters or the people who are trying to find Alex or whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't think she was wanting to lure them there to kill them.
I don't know.
I don't know. I never really got that vibe from that. She was I think her main premise is to be left alone.
That's what I felt.
She just wants to be left alone to her own demise and go away.
She didn't want to hurt Alex. She just wanted someone to come get him, take him away.
Yeah,
that's how I took it.
I don't know. I mean, to me, again, if that was the case, she could easily have killed him. Why not just kill him? End of movie, credits.
Right. I know. Yeah.
I mean, there's got to be a reason.
Well, I mean, she's a zombie, so it doesn't necessarily have to make sense.
That's true.
Well, the question becomes, so I chose this for fantasy, not for horror movie. I know we keep going back to horror because most of my movies from here on will be horror, for Kyle. So
what goes around comes around, dude.
Yeah, you're right. I know. Here come all film noirs from all comedies. Anyway, so what I was saying, the ending part in particular, where we essentially see her start to come back towards humanity, it's kind of a strange view of it, because it almost makes you question, is she actually undead, quote unquote? Like, I think she is, because I'm not questioning, in the movie, is she dead? But how does she come back to life? It's because she starts to become more human. going back to what you were saying with the mother's boyfriend, right? When he attacked, so skipping ahead a little bit here, because that same night we go back to another flashback. You want to cover that?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say they go to a cave real quick.
Yeah, they end up in a
other
cave.
cops are coming and looking for him, and this is where she finally reveals her name is Mina.
Yep.
To him, and they have a little heart-to-heart kind of conversation stuff, and so we jump back before zombie times, and we find out that Mina is raped by her mother's boyfriend.
Yes, in so many words. I mean, there's no actual penetration that we see, but yes, in so many terms. Yeah.
Yeah, we assume.
Yeah.
But then she bites his finger, and then she bites his neck, and he throws her off of him, and then he grabs a snow globe that's sitting on a counter, and then just beats her to death.
Yeah, it's a snow globe with a picture of her family.
Right.
And the reason why her mom's with this guy is because her dad, we're assuming, is
out
either
of the picture
out of the
somehow.
picture, dead, gone. Something has taken him away.
Right.
And and then the guy we snap.
But we see him bury her, taking her out into the forest.
She was buried in the cave that they were hiding in, because when he first went into the cave and was about to have his hand be put on...
is that what she stops him from
She's
touching?
like, no, stop. And that's actually where she woke up. Because when during one of the flashbacks, she actually raised from the dead.
Right.
And that was the same cave.
Okay, because that looked like a open field.
No, it was in the cave. It was they had like the little hole in the cave.
Oh, okay.
It's the same place.
Okay. But yeah, we see the boyfriend bury her in the woods. Then we jump back to zombie times, and then Alex, I guess their hands touched. I forget why their hands touched, but Alex tells her that her hands aren't cold anymore.
Yeah.
So this is the first inkling that we get that Mina is turning back human.
Yeah, changing.
Even though we don't know that.
Even though we
changing
don't know
in
that
some way. She's something is happening, because we saw her with the lighter in the hand and nothing.
Yeah.
And then she went after
this,
the fact,
yeah.
and she did it again while he was sleeping or whatever, and she was like, "Ow, that hurt."
Mm-hmm.
So there's something changing with her at this point.
And this is so talking about the stepdad or step boyfriend, whatever, doing that awful thing, obviously to her. He didn't just kill her in the greater sense of the word. He didn't just kill her. He killed the humanity in her,
the innocence.
Yeah. So whenever she rises from the dead, she's not just dead physically; she's dead spiritually.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And as her spirit comes back to life more, knowing Alex, that's where she starts to burn her hand, her face clears up, and she becomes human at the end, kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the piece where I'm saying with John with the undead aspect. The thing I don't like about the synopsis is that they minimize it to this undead monsters eating people, blah blah blah. It's deeper than that.
They don't want to give away
but they give away
the ending.
I know, but they give away so much of the movie in that I'm like, you're simplifying
it.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a very simple movie if you look at it.
Yeah.
No, see, I don't think it's simple. I think it's very complex.
So then we meet three men who want to collect the reward of finding Alex.
Yeah, because everybody's
sheriff.
looking, like this whole town around this Devil's Den area is looking for this boy.
Right. And then the men find Alex, and they say they're there to help him. Mina kills two of them, but one of them manages to hit her in the leg with an axe right before he dies. So we see that she gets hurt.
Right.
Yeah.
So she's not some unstoppable Jason type killer
anymore.
Yeah.
And I think that's just because she's starting to turn human, or something is changing in her.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So then the third man runs away, and he gets hit by a car, and then the unknown driver speeds away in the hit and run, so it leaves him to die.
Yeah, which I thought that was a little comical, but the thing that I thought was super funny was he looked about the youngest of the group of three guys, and he was the one who pulled out the cell phone and took a picture of this chick, after she just killed, I guess, his friend and his friend's dad. And so I was okay.
No, it's his dad. It killed
it was his
dad and his uncle
friend.
or his dad's friend. Yeah.
I thought
he was the youngest because the guy who was the bald guy who was the kind of the middle age, the middle of the ages, right? Not the old guy who gets killed first. The more muscular guy was his dad. That's his son. And yeah, I agree with you. The cell phone thing was not needed.
It wasn't needed, but it kind of brought the realism in the story
I could see that. Yeah.
Okay, this person has heard about this girl in the woods and this monster or whatever, and he's like, "Oh, I need to Snapchat this."
Well, he even connected
real quick.
He's the one who connects who Mina is, because Alex is saying Mina, and he's like,
"Oh, you're the girl."
He's like, "Wait, no." He doesn't say it to her. He says it to his dad. He's like, "Wait, Dad, you remember when I was younger? There was that girl Mina who was killed at that house. Blah blah blah." So nobody was connecting apparently, but that guy would be her age basically.
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying? Or somewhere near her age. Oh, I guess she was younger. It doesn't matter. So somewhere near her age. So it's kind of interesting that realistically, it's probably been like 15 years, give or take. Something in that range.
And I didn't necessarily see, like, in the synopsis, it actually says something about
2 decades.
2 or decades or something like that. Some other synopsis, not on IMDb per se, but I was like, wait a minute, this is how long ago was this that she was human, and how long has she been undead?
Yeah, 15 to 20 years at max. Like, that's at max.
And she hasn't aged a day.
Well, no, she's a zombie. John's pointing out. Yeah.
But as zombies goes, they start deteriorating and all that kind of stuff.
It's a fantasy about it. Again, it's not a zombie movie like a traditional zombie. Hold on, you make up special rules for the most straightforward things. You're like, no, it's because in this world the sun is not as hot.
And
but meanwhile,
I'm not the one, tearing apart science that doesn't exist.
You're right.
Actually, I didn't even think about the whole timeline. I just thought that she wasn't aging because she was a zombie, right?
Yeah. Me too.
I didn't even think that decades have passed.
I don't think it's more than 20 years. I couldn't see it being more, because this kid's saying when I was a kid, that girl died. So
he looks in his mid-20s.
I would say he's mid-20s. So it's been like 2 decades, 15 to 20 years. Yeah.
Yeah. But then when we were talking about it a little bit before the show, somebody mentioned that that's the house that she lived in. I had no clue.
Yeah, that's her bedroom.
I didn't even. Yeah. Some reason it didn't connect to me that was the thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. In the house, it looked more than 20 years old. Like dilapidated,
yeah.
It looked like it was been there for probably 50 years. Yeah. But obviously, the technology that she was listening to a CD player, so we know it was like
the 90s.
Yeah, the 90s or whatever. Yeah. And then you have iPhones and stuff like that now. Yeah. So it's probably, like you said, 15, 20 years or something like that.
And she knew how to use it.
So. Yeah, she knew. Well, she's probably killed a lot of people with touch phones.
Yeah. I'm sure she was back there just taking selfies.
She's killed a lot of people.
She's playing like Candy
Crush
or something like that when she's bored.
To kill time.
Why not? Oh, God.
Excellent.
Jesus.
So anyway. So Mina and Alex, they leave the scene, they start hiking, and they come across another house. And Alex basically says that he's hungry, so Mina goes into this house looking for food. She sees a pot of soup on the stove, and she's startled by the owner of the house, who's this older lady. He's pointing a shotgun at her, who
apparently says, "Oh, it's too early for Halloween, isn't it?"
Yeah.
It starts just maniacally laughing. It's just like, what the hell is wrong with this lady? Obviously,
maniacally laughing.
One thing, she lives out in the middle of nowhere, so she's probably like, well, people don't see me very often.
Well, I mean, when this is another thing that I started questioning stuff on, because I was thinking, okay, well, how far did they walk? The lighting didn't change, so it couldn't have been far. They were in Devil's Den, so this house must be in Devil's Den.
Or somewhere near it.
Or somewhere near it.
Yeah.
Just outside the forest or something, maybe.
Well, Devil's Den, I get the feeling that Devil's Den is either fairly new or just it was named there because she's a monster killing people there now.
Right.
Right? Because...
Well, it's been there for decades.
It's been there for a couple decades, yeah, right? This woman's house, I don't know, maybe it's right on the outset of Devil's Den. I just get the feeling that Devil's Den was named for her. Because she's killing all these people there.
But I mean, my point is that this old lady, probably living there for decades.
Yeah.
It looks lived in.
Yes.
That she would have heard these horror stories of Mina.
True.
Because everybody else has. Even the clerk at the convenience store has.
Yeah.
Who looks about the same age as her. So I don't see her thinking that it's some Halloween mask or whatever, because... Correct me if I'm wrong, but we don't know what time of the year it is.
Yeah.
Maybe it's fall because of the leaves, but...
Well, it is fall because, the leaves are...
Yeah.
And it's cold.
Yeah, and it's cold, so it's probably around there.
Yeah.
So, okay, maybe I just convinced myself.
It's
I'm going to
fall
say
time,
sometime
fall,
after July.
yes,
because before July it would be too late for Halloween.
True.
Is that the rule? It's like Labor Day rules, like don't wear shoes, don't wear white shoes after Labor Day. That's the rule,
right.
huh? Okay.
Yeah. So as this lady and Mina are talking, Mina says, "I don't want to hurt you," but then all of a sudden, player 3 enters the game. Yeah. Alex comes in and stabs the lady in the back.
Which I didn't see coming.
I didn't either.
I didn't either.
And I also, again, just marking Mina's dynamic changes here. She doesn't want to hurt her, where like maybe 30, 45 minutes earlier, we see her ripping the eyes out of a police officer.
Yeah.
That's a pretty dramatic change from a friendship.
And like John said earlier,
and it happens over a span of a day.
She kills the police officer, what we're assuming, out of threat.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which this person is holding a shotgun to her. Mm-hmm. I would consider that a threat.
Right.
But she's already started changing back to
But
human.
she's already, right. Yeah. So, okay.
At a Wolverine pace, by the way.
At a Wolverine pace.
Starts on the inside, by the way.
Yeah. So Alex, he's all tuckered out, little guy. So he goes and takes a nap. Then when Mina picks up the phone, redials a number, right? Star 69's it or whatever. And we find out that it's Alex's mom.
Right.
That is the number. So that happens.
Yeah, she's begging for whoever's on the other end of the phone to return her son to her, which I'm sorry, heartstring galore. I can't handle that. It just tears me to pieces. I couldn't imagine something like that happening to somebody I know or love. That'd just be horrible.
So then we jump back for the third time, I believe, before zombie times.
Yep.
And we see Mira emerge from her grave that we were talking about earlier. Right?
Yeah.
Inside the cave, like Kyle says. And then we see Mina grab the axe from chopping wood, and then she goes and kills her mom.
Yeah, which is kind of weird in a way.
So I didn't think it was weird, but this is my biggest complaint with this movie is this part right here. I wanted to see rapist boy get killed.
That's what I was saying.
I wanted him dead too.
But
that's
I don't
what
understand.
I was saying. It was weird.
I don't understand the motivation of killing her mother, though.
Because it happened to her because her mom. She
told
thought
her mom was complacent.
She told her point blank. She's like, "You told me he was never going to come back. Shut up and go to your room." Like
So we're assuming that they've had this conversation. That
she says, she says, you told me that he wasn't going to come back. So that means they've had to have talked about him before. Mm-hmm. And then the mom just doesn't give a shit. It's just like, yeah, whatever. He's going to be here, so just go to your room. Right. And then she like runs away and goes into crazy noise headphone scribble mode.
Yeah, angst drawing.
Who I want to point out, she angst draws better than most people can draw ever. Yeah, that was crazy. but yeah, that I like the poetic justice of her killing her mom. I'm down for that.
I think it was just the wrong person.
No, I don't think so at all.
Yeah,
she hugs her. She gets right up on her and hugs her.
No, it was the wrong person that she killed. She should have killed the dude. The dude should have been in the house.
I 100% agree with you.
That's what I meant by that scene. Is it was the wrong person to be in the house at that point.
Oh, see, I think both of them should have been. I was down for both of them being killed. The rapist guy and her mom. I'm down for both. I don't like being robbed of the poetic justice of pedophile rapist boy not being sliced to pieces.
I wonder if let's hypothetically say that she does kill the boyfriend in that scene. I think if that were to happen, it would screw up a little bit of her motivations for being the whole zombie thing. Because you would think that, okay, revenge, you get
out of it?
You get out of it.
Oh, maybe. Yeah,
so maybe they deliberately took that away from her so that she could have this journey.
This chip on her shoulder?
Yeah.
I gotcha.
To go through the whole zombie process.
That's very possible, but I felt robbed as an audience member. I wanted to see him destroyed.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. Same. Yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
It would have been a huge audience pleaser.
And in the same way that I think Alex felt robbed that Yosef's death was so quick. He asked, "How did he die?"
Oh, that's right.
And she explains it, and he's like, "Oh," and she's
did
like,
he scream?
He's like, "Did he scream?" And she's like, "No, it was quick and whatever." And she doesn't get that he actually wanted Yosef to like fully suffer, and it was, a letdown. I think that we're let down in the same way for her boyfriend, or her mom's boyfriend. Going death.
So then we jump back to zombie times, and we see Alex wake up looking for Mina. And we do I really like this shot that they did where he walks into the kitchen and we see from that open window, we see like the lights of a truck pulling in.
Well, she's meanwhile in the garage eating that woman.
Right. Well, yeah, she's got to feed too.
Yeah, she's hungry.
Well,
zombies got to eat.
She tried to eat the soup.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
See, here's what's okay. So this part in particular, the soup and
another product placement. Arby's. We've got the meats.
Jesus. She tries to eat the soup and still can't eat it.
Right.
So she still hasn't crossed over being human enough to be able to eat the soup. So she goes out to eat the woman who tried to shoot him.
Yeah.
This is where Alex gets abducted by the daughter and daughter and son-in-law of the woman that they just killed.
Yeah, they were checking up on her.
Yeah, and so
because they were out in the forest looking for this boy.
Right.
No.
All
Yes,
day.
yes. I'm sorry. You're right.
Yeah.
I thought you were going a different direction.
No.
So yes, and then Mina runs out, chases after the truck.
Spooks the
spooks the driver, gets thrown out.
Yeah.
Kind of does not 100. She does do an act of love in that, but the act of love, it comes later. The true act of love comes later. But she starts, trying to save Alex, trying to save him, for whatever reason. They flip
Alex
the
is
truck.
really injured.
After they flip the truck.
Right.
Yes, they flip the truck. She gets thrown out, and Alex gets injured. And she doesn't eat the woman in the front seat. She doesn't kill the husband outside. She lets the woman get out and tend to her husband. And then in the true act of love, instead of dragging Alex hurt off into the woods because, he's my friend and I want to have him like the teddy bear, she leaves him to be saved by the emergency services.
Yeah.
Right.
And at that point is when her face is almost all the way cleared up.
Yeah, it's getting pretty good now.
It's getting pretty good. So by the next morning or
soon after, I thought it looked still pretty effed up.
It was, but it was getting much better. Her eyes were cleared up. This whole side of her face was more or less fine. It was really just right here that was like still
where she got bashed with the snow globe.
Yeah, was anybody else? I don't mean to jump around, but was anybody else kind of impressed by their makeup?
No, it was horrible. Honestly.
Oh,
I thought the Alex the eye bit I liked that.
Yeah,
but yeah, I thought her stuff was.
It was very chunky. Like it looked like a piece of fake skin was plastered all over her face. Like a one piece.
I don't think I liked the coloring.
What did you think?
It was the coloring for me. I mean, it was good. Don't get me wrong.
Okay.
But no, I think it was a little too tropey Frankenstein looking.
Okay.
I think it should have had a little bit more human color in it. Because it didn't match her hands. Her hands were black and gray and like they were more rotted.
Yeah.
I think they
were more like claws.
Right. I think there just should have been either lighter on the face or just go all in and make it like.
And there was absolutely no dirt on her face. It was clean. It was almost like it's almost like the scars. It was just a fresh thing of makeup the whole time that she was there. Mm-hmm. Now, after she fed, obviously she had blood around her mouth, but with those hands and everything, you would think that when she would wipe off her face or just being out, just dirty.
Yeah.
She hasn't showered in decades. Yeah. I mean, you'd have some sort of dirt on your face, but it was all just like that nice powdery blue on her face.
And the wounds on her face, the cuts and scrapes and stuff were all like the meat underneath was red.
Yeah, like it was fresh.
Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying. Okay.
So yeah, to me the face makeup on her, and Alex's makeup, yeah, that's pretty neat. That's pretty neat. I mean, the scar tissues over his eyes, it really blended in well, but that was just because he was human. Yeah. And they matched his color okay, and you could tell that, he's been clean, he's been underneath the sheet all the time to be invisible. So he's not out and about on the dirt and all that kind of stuff.
And when she rips the cop's eyes out, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That was really good.
Yeah.
I was impressed by that makeup. Which makes me wonder if her makeup was done. I'm not trying to give them excuses. Right. I'm not trying to give them excuses, but I'm wondering if they did her makeup like that on purpose for some reason. I can't think of the reason 100%. I'm just saying because the cop's makeup was really good, actually. Mm-hmm. Now you say that.
The cop's makeup, it was just...
What was a split second?
It was split second stuff. It wasn't like up close Hollywood stuff.
No, you're right. But I mean, it was pretty gruesome.
Yeah.
I mean, it was definitely
good for fast cuts.
2 gaping wounds. Yeah.
Yep. So then Mina goes back to her house, packs up her belongings, and leaves. And then this is a really good close-up that they show where she's actually almost human.
Yeah.
Almost, like 95% human at this point. Then we see her walking down the road. A passerby comes by, picks her up, and then they do the audience pleaser shot where we see Mina look towards the camera, not at it, but towards it, and then we see, okay, she's 100% better now. Yeah. And then they drive off in the distance, and then credits.
Right. Yeah.
And that part in particular, I took it as, personally, okay, she's kind of, like, through the power of love, recovered from trauma.
That's how I took it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It's an I don't know. I think it's an interesting premise of like what trauma like that can do to somebody internally. If we put those same scars on the outside, what does that look like? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
And I think that's I just think that's an interesting premise. I can't say they were perfect in executing it, but executing, I don't know why I said executing weird, but I think it's an interesting premise.
Yeah, I like the premise. I like the story.
Yeah.
The execution could have been done a lot better, I think.
Well, I think I agree. The cell phone thing with the kid, like you said, it brought in some realism. I didn't care for that.
Well, just
that
because the world is at that time of like a totally like different world that she grew up in.
True.
This world that she's living through as a zombie or whatever, the undead girl, it's all about social media. You know, it's all about, oh, I got to prove this. I got to take pictures and stuff like that. But it just kind of brings the time of where everything is at the moment.
I think one of my biggest complaints about the movie is its pacing. I thought it was very slow, and I would have cut out the three guys.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I would have cut them out. I just would have had her go and grab the cell phone off of Yosef.
Yeah,
cut them out completely.
I could see that.
Yeah. Then that would save 20 minutes or however long that scene is, 10, 15 minutes, whatever it was.
The scene's like probably 5 minutes long.
It felt then. It felt longer.
It was pretty long.
I would say that the three guys, I could agree with you that you could probably be cut out. The only reason I'd say leave them in, is that it shows that she's willing to protect him. Like, she didn't eat those guys. Right? She didn't kill the kid in the street. She took them out to protect him, to try and keep him for her. Like, they could have saved her. Like, literally, he could have been saved like 5 times.
Yeah,
right?
no, but she keeps stopping.
She keeps keeping him for herself. Like, her bear got torn in half, so this is my new teddy bear. Right? And that's what she's doing. So it's interesting that she kills these, for all accounts anyway, do-gooders. The cop, the three guys in the wood, they're all trying to save him, right? Mm-hmm. And then when we get to the end, after the grandmother who almost shot her but didn't shoot her, we see her having the ability again to kill 2 people who are just trying to save Alex, and instead of killing them, she doesn't, and act of love lets him be saved by emergency services and becomes human again.
So basically, she's just a dick.
For most of the movie, yes.
Yeah. She's in it for herself.
She's not in it for herself. She's a dick because of what happened to her.
Right.
She's a dick because she was.
Well, when I say she's in it for herself, she is in it for herself because she just wants to be left alone. She's only caring about herself. She doesn't care about anybody else. She wants to be alone.
See, I'm not. You may be right. I would say this though. I think that the beginning part of the movie, up until Alex in particular, she doesn't just want to be left alone. I think she actually wants to punish humanity. I think she is forcefully doing this. She's got spikes out to take people's tires out and stuff so she can literally hunt these people. Like, she's doing it almost like with a aggression.
You know girls got to eat.
There's another great tagline for this movie. Girls gotta eat.
Girls gotta eat.
goes well with the IMDb synopsis.
Lord. Well, Kyle, do you have budgetary stuff on this?
$17.
Yeah, I don't know the actual budget. It doesn't say on IMDb, but it does have a gross worldwide number.
Okay.
Since there's nothing...
15,000.
Oh, well, that's low.
I do know this was funded from Austria.
Yes, it was an Austrian film. But yeah, it was shot in like Canada.
Yeah, it was shot in Ontario.
Yeah, but the gross worldwide is 27,000. So I don't know how much it cost to make it. Probably a lot more than 27,000.
You think this cost more than 27,000?
I was going to say it probably cost around 25 grand or 30 grand, something.
Yeah, I don't think it cost much.
I would say at least 50.
Maybe.
But that seems to be a pretty good for a feature like this.
So yeah, 27,000. Yeah, I'm not sure. I wish we had a number because I'd actually be kind of curious what it took to make this.
I did look around to see if I could find a budget, but nobody has it posted anywhere.
Okay. Well, for Rotten Tomato scores, the critics give this an 88%, but the audience gives it a 56%. So it's a very polar opposite. kind of scores here. So, Eddie, since this was your movie, you get the honors of going first, of giving it a Screen Riot score.
Okay, so I can tell you now it's not a perfect movie by any means. I kind of agree with you on the pacing. I don't think there's a lot of waste in it. I mean, it's only, what did you say it was? It's like 90 minutes, 94 minutes, something?
It's
an hour and 35 minutes, 95 minutes.
95 minutes long. I mean, I can think of a few places to cut, but honestly, the movie would end up being like an hour and probably 12 minutes, hour and 15 minutes. I mean, barely a feature at that point.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I don't know. I don't think it's perfect by any means. I like the story a lot. I like the idea that, and I say that in a weird way because I don't really like what happened to these two kids. What happened to these two kids is awful, but I like that the story writers, the director, etc., took this idea of childhood trauma, childhood, things that happen to children that are obviously horrible, and what would it do to them if we took those internal scars and literally put them on the outside, right? What would that do to these? What would that look like, for these kids? I think that Mina's character could have been a lot more developed and have been a lot deeper. I think they could have been more specific in exactly what was taking place. Like the questions that you're bringing up and stuff. Again, I can't 100% say she doesn't want to be alone. I just don't think that that's what it is. I think she's actually punishing people.
She says multiple times, just leave me alone.
No, I agree with you.
Or just leave us alone.
I agree with you. I'm just saying, well, leave us alone in particular. I agree with you. I'm just saying that I look at it like she actually wants to punish humanity for what happened to her. That's what I think. But again, it is ambiguous a little bit. So yeah. I hear you. For me anyway, the movie, I really like the aesthetic of the movie. As much as I can say, I like Alex's whole weird scarred over eyes thing. I think that that's extreme. But it shows, I mean, again, just a very, it reminds me like, again, a Slumdog Millionaire, that scene, that blinding scene. I can't get it out of my head. You know what I mean? It's just an awful scene that scars me on the inside because of what's happening to these kids. And in this movie, it's kind of the same thing. I just can't get his face out of my head.
Right.
Gotcha.
His innocence is shocking and tragic and all these things all at one time. Anyway, so I like the depth that they managed to muster in that way. So for me, this movie is a 5.9.
Okay, 5.9 for Eddie. Kyle?
Yeah.
Okay. I agree with Eddie on the look of the film is nice. I mean, it helps when you have natural foliage. It helps when you've shot in a particular time of year, because it just, I mean, fall time and like that crossover between fall and winter, it always looks great, no matter where you are. Well, except for Florida, obviously. Florida is just summer and spring.
Same.
I love to see the humidity on camera.
Yeah, it's just a foggy lens.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's pretty much where it ends for me. I don't know, the fantasy part of this film, I guess it just leaves it to a typical horror film, but I don't know. The pacing was slow to me. After the fact, I didn't feel anything for the movie. The characters weren't as developed as I liked them to be. I would have liked to have seen a more developed Mina, like you were saying. I guess this movie just needs more meat to it in a sense. I don't know how else to explain it, but right. It just seems like they're leaving a lot of something out of it. I just can't put a marker on it. I'm gonna give this probably like a 3.2.
Okay, 3.2 for Kyle. John?
The movie can be taken away from. Like I agree with Justin that the killing of the three men in the woods that were helping Alex, the people that were, like, they can't see, I'm doing air quotes. that could be taken out. But then there's also a lot of stuff that can be put in to help, obviously, the audience understand what's going on. I would have liked to seen a more developed Mina character. I would have really liked to see a more developed Alex character as well, to show, okay, this is what this kid has actually been through. But not necessarily everything, but I mean something in the past from him, like in a flashback type type
to
deal.
see more of his
to where we
story.
can see these two and why they're making this, to where it's more plain to the audience that this is what's going on between these two. They're connecting, and that connection is actually helping her regain her humanity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm gonna give this. I'm actually gonna give it a 6.
Okay. So John gives it a 6. So I went into this really wanting to like it because what I read about it was, or what I assumed from watching the trailer was an interesting point of view. You know, we have tons of horror movies that are forest based, right? Yeah. And there's very few that get to dive into the monster's point of view, right? So it's always from the people trying to survive and all that. So I was interested in this movie. I think they do some things right, but I think they do a lot of things wrong. Which we covered, so I won't go into it. But I'm gonna give it a 4.5. I think. So that means that it comes out to be a 4.9. So with that, we need to roll for the next movie that we're going to be doing. And I believe it's between Kyle and myself, right?
It is.
Yeah.
It is between you two.
And we have thriller and sci-fi left?
I think so.
Yes.
For this season?
Yep.
All right.
All right, here we go. Justin.
Okay. This better be the one I want.
Right?
Okay. And
Get it.
Here we go. Sci-fi or thriller. Sci-fi.
All right.
Well then, so I think the sci-fi movie I'm gonna pick. I haven't seen this in a while, and I've been kind of wanting to rewatch it. So I'm gonna pick a movie from 2014. It's called Ex Machina. It's a young programmer is selected to participate in a groundbreaking experiment in synthetic intelligence by evaluating the human qualities of a highly advanced humanoid AI.
Okay.
As an odd way of saying it, but I think the movie's quite good. So
yeah, I've seen it before. It's actually a pretty good movie.
So if you want to follow along at home, next Saturday we will be reviewing Ex Machina. You can find out where to play it. Just go to justwatch.com, look up Ex Machina, find all the places you can stream it, and check it out. Don't forget to visit screenriot.net, check out our movie ratings page, and also our support page, see all the ways that you can support the show. And with that, guys, we're out.
See ya.
See ya.